Hello, good morning, and Happy New Year. Welcome to Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation and our worship service this morning. I'm Sara Drew, an intern at Emerson this school year, and I am grateful to be your worship leader this morning. I did not imagine myself doing this over Zoom, but I am happy that you are all here with me. Zoom has sort of become synonymous with a bummer, right? Like, oh, we had to go back to Zoom. But I think that it does offer us a lot of opportunities too. And first and foremost, we get to gather and stay healthy, hopefully. I hope you are all feeling happy and healthy this morning. Our January theme is living with intention, perfect for a new year. And I hope that we can start to think about that together this morning. To start us off, I would like to share a poem that I like to revisit each new year. It is written by Lucille Clifton, and it's called, I Am Running into a New Year. I am running into a new year, and the old years blow back like a wind that I catch in my hair. Like strong fingers, like all my old promises, and it will be hard to let go of what I said to myself, about myself, when I was 16 and 26 and 36, even 36. But I am running into a new year, and I beg what I love and what I leave to forgive me. I will hand it over to Michael for our chalice lighting.
Get that thing out of my face. Good morning. My name is Michael Myers, and I'm the chairman of the Building IT Committee, a member of the choir, and I'm a worship associate, like I'm doing today. Each Sunday, we light a candle to acknowledge and remembrance for the Cherokee and Muscogee nations of people who lived on this land before us. And I will use my fire candle. That's the red is supposed to represent for this purpose. Place it over there. May this candle humbly remind us of our interconnection and the impact of our collective actions. May there be healing in all nations of people. Each Sunday, we also light our chalice. This chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism and a reminder of our commitment to be a beacon of love and hope to all who enter. Today's chalice lighting words are by Charlotte Erickson. You can start anew at any given moment. Life is a passage of time. It is up to you to pass it as you please. And now, in the spirit of beloved community and connection, let's greet and welcome each other to worship as we share our congregational affirmation. We need not love alike, but we need not think alike to love alike. I invite you to wave at each other and chat with each other for a little while. I'll hold it here in silence for that to happen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Good
morning, everybody.
Beautiful souls.
Oh, good.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building
Here at Emerson, our vision is to be a radically inclusive, open-minded, beloved community that is a vibrant source of peace, hope, and healing in the world. We know we cannot live this vision alone, so each month we partner with another organization and encourage our members and friends to support their work both financially and with action. Today's sharing basket is with El Refugio. El Refugio was established to support family and friends of immigrants and asylum seekers detained at Stewart Detention Center located in the remote southern Georgia town of Lubbock. A lovely name. In 2010, El Refugio opened a hospitality house offering meals and lodging at no cost. Perhaps more importantly, they offer friendship and support to the loved ones of immigrants and asylum seekers who are detained. Our financial support makes a difference, and this month we also encourage you to support those leaving the detention center by providing them with a much needed clothing. Those who request it receive a backpack with essential items, and when they are released, whether that is to remain in the United States or sadly to be deported. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally with Emerson and our partner organization.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandra Malik, and I serve as a member of the Emerson Pastoral Care Team. Pastoral Care Team members are available with listening ears and caring hearts to offer you support during challenging times. You can contact us at our email address, pastoralcare@emersonuu.org. Each Sunday, we light our vigil bowl. Its light represents the light of hope for the peaceful resolution of all conflicts on our planet. And I will light that right now. And while I'm lighting that, let's take a look at our joys and sorrows. At this time in our service, we pause to share our joys and sorrows with the Emerson community. So please feel free to share your own personal joy, sorrows, and concerns by typing in our chat. And as you read them, I'll light the candles. Now, we don't have any personal messages from our emails this week, but I'd just like to remind us of the larger community and maybe hold in our hearts today some people that we love that have passed, like Betty White and John Madden.
Can we please add the Archbishop Desmond Tutu to our prayers this morning as well?
Yes.
Made such an impact in so many people's lives and this whole world.
We also know there may be joy, sorrows, or concern that are too tender to share in full. Feel free to speak out their names out loud or type into the chat their names of someone you are holding in your heart today. Let us now send our heartfelt caring intentions to those named and those unnamed, and to all people everywhere by offering the Buddha's prayer of loving kindness. Please repeat the words after me. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May they be free from harm and suffering. May they be well in body, heart, and mind. May they be at peace. Blessed be.
I think it's story for all ages time. Good morning, everyone. Hey, it's me, it's Jeffrey Jacoby, and I have a story for all ages. Today's story is called When You Are Brave. Some days, when everything around you seems scary, you have to be brave. Brave as a bird that steps from its nest, hoping to soar through the sky. Brave as a dog that wanders for miles, searching for one well-known light. Brave as a caterpillar that builds a bed, wondering when it will wake. Because some days are full of things you'd rather not do. Like plunging into a pool all by yourself, hoping you'll swim and not sink. Or standing alone in front of a crowd, searching for one friendly face. Or boarding the bus and riding to school, wondering what lies ahead. At times like these, the world can seem too big, too loud, too hard, too much, while you might feel too small, too quiet, too tired, not enough. On those days, look deep inside to find the courage you need. It might be hidden away, but if you close your eyes and breathe, you will see it, shining its light in the dark, warm, steady, safe. Your light might be small to start, just a spark, but you can turn it into a flame. Picture it in your mind, then imagine it becoming bigger and bolder. You can make your courage so big it brightens your heart, fills your fingers and flows to your toes. Think about what you're good at. Something you love, or someone who loves you. No one else will see it, but you'll know you glow. And you'll know you are ready, no matter how deep the water, how loud the crowd, how hard the ride, or how much there is to do. You might struggle. You might succeed. People might clap, or laugh, or not notice at all. No matter what happens, you'll be all right. Because once you find your courage, it's easy to use again and again. The next time life seems scary or you start something new, you can remember when you were brave. And then you can stand straight and walk tall, knowing you are as brave as a bird, a dog, and a caterpillar, as brave as you. Alrighty, shall we sing our song of dedication?
What is the doctrine of the church? The best for truth is the sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve Him in kind and fellowship. Now to be covenant with each other. Now to be promised to each other.
All right, we're gonna take a moment to get centered here. So if you will intentionally find a really firm, planted position, feet flat on the floor if you can, nice rooted hips and then lifting the crown of your head so that you're sort of finding a balance between comfort and slumping. Lift there. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. That's where I, like when I start to get stressed out, that's like a meter of my stress. My shoulders start to climb up toward my ears. So pull those shoulders away from your ears. If there's a place where you know you hold stress, definitely pay attention to that. Some people clench their hands or their teeth. You can shake out whatever needs shaking. Maybe roll your shoulders, drop your left ear towards your left shoulder, whatever feels pulling to you this morning, sort of releasing that tightness if you still have it. And then if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. You could turn your camera off if that's helpful to your finding a grounded place. And then start to draw your attention to your breath. I'm going to use a little guided meditation that's from a book called Reiki, A Torch in the Daylight. I'll put that in the chat in case you want to refer to it later. Take those few more breaths here. Through your nose if that's comfortable for you. You are relaxed and at ease as you count down from 10 to 1 with each breath going deeper. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In your mind's eye, you realize you are now walking on a path that is leading up this beautiful, crystal, most peaceful mountain. As you are walking, you feel that the path is becoming steeper and more narrow. And with every step you take, you are coming closer and closer to a higher, more spiritual place. Suddenly, you realize how heavy your burdens have been, and you stop for a moment. You notice that one of the bags you are carrying with you is too heavy to continue with, so you take it off. You notice this bag is labeled physical burdens, baggage from your physical body that perhaps you are choosing to move beyond at this time. And so you take that bag off and you leave it by the side of the path, knowing that if you choose to pick up anything from this bag on your way down, you may do so. And you feel yourself move away from these physical problems. You feel them disconnecting and becoming distant from you. And you are lighter now. But the path is becoming steeper and steeper, and you go a little farther. You decide that it's time to examine some of the other bags that you have brought along. So you take a bag from your back that is labeled emotional baggage. And looking inside, you see that there are things emotionally that no longer fit you. And so you take this bag off and leave anything that is no longer appropriate emotionally for you on your journey. You leave it beside the side of the path, knowing you can pick it up later if you choose. And you continue climbing higher and higher. And you now are almost with the clouds. But the way is steep and you have another bag that is becoming very, very heavy for you. And so you take it off. It's labeled mental baggage. There are thoughts that you have held in your mind that no longer work for you. Thoughts or judgments, perhaps, about others that you're choosing now to leave behind. And you do. And moving ever higher, you come to a place where the path ends. And there's a cliff of sorts before you go up to the top of this very high, very peaceful mountain. And you know that there is yet another heavy burden that you must leave behind before you can advance, before you can really appreciate the peace of your setting. You think about that for a moment, leaving whatever personal thing that might come to mind, something heavy that you've been carrying, something that you're ready to let go. And you put that too by the bottom of the path. And now at the summit, you can rest in your lightness from having taken a break from all that baggage. Taking those same breaths here at the summit, noticing perhaps a difference. Drawing your attention back to your breath, counting from 10 to 1, your own pace. You might still consider what it is that you really need to let go, what it is that would really lighten your load, or maybe you'll just bask in the peace of the moment. When you feel ready to, you might blink open your eyes and come back into the room. Maybe you'll stay in this meditation through our anthem.
A sound of hope, a sound of peace, a sound that celebrates and speaks what we believe, a sound of love, a sound so strong. It's amazing what is given when we share a song. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice, why we stand as one in harmony. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice. Take my hand and sing with me. Through the soul, and the heart, bring together lives that have been torn apart. Share the joy, fight forever. It's a never-ending gift that circles back again. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice, why we stand as one in harmony. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice. Take my hand and sing with me. Music lifts the bridge and tear down the wall. Music is the language that can speak to one and all. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice, why we stand as one in harmony. This is why we sing, why we lift our voice. Take my hand and sing with me. This is why we
During my opening words, I talked about how Zoom is sort of seen as a sort of like bummer, like who wants to do that? We have to do it. It's a shame. But like I said, first and foremost, it allows us to gather and be healthy. And the other thing that I really love about it is that sort of everyone can respond without being disruptive, right? Like if we were in a room and I asked for all your opinions, it would be like this weird microphone situation. It would take a lot of time, but on Zoom, everyone can respond simultaneously and silently. And so everyone can, and it's recorded, of course, so we can go back and see everyone's ideas. So there's going to be several times throughout my sermon this morning that I ask you to like put your ideas about something in particular, your favorite things about this or that into the chat. So I hope you'll indulge me. During opening words, I read a poem that I like to revisit every New Year. And I also have a couple of favorite recipes that are New Year related. And so if you have any New Year's traditions, practices, ways you celebrate foods, of course, go ahead and put those in the chat now. I'm going to put my links to my recipes in the chat while we're all doing that. You can think about that. And it's not too late, right? Like if you see a really good idea here, I think, right, definitely at least the first couple weeks of January are fair game for New Year's traditions. I see black-eyed peas. One of my favorites is black-eyed pea salsa. I also have one, New Year noodle soup is one of my favorite recipes. I'll have to drop that one in later because that's not coming to me now. Oh, squash soup, Claude. That sounds excellent. Yeah, there is a trend, Jeffrey, of black-eyed peas. They're like hard to find now. When I see them in the grocery store, I like scoop them up because I'm afraid there won't be any for me when I want them. Okay, here's that New Year noodle soup. Noodles are supposed to be lucky too. Noodles, black-eyed peas. Susan says good habits, not resolutions. Excellent. You can keep on if you come, as we're going, you think of more, feel free. So most of you know that I'm an intern here at Emerson this school year. I am an intern at Candler School of Theology as part of my coursework to become a hospital chaplain. A natural first question upon hearing that piece of information is a version of, are you changing careers? What did you do before, right? Basically, how is it that you are more than 40 years old and an intern, exactly, right? Some version of that. And it makes sense to me. Most of us imagine an intern as sort of learning the ropes for the first time. And so that makes sense that they would be very young, as many of my classmates are in the 22-ish range. So sort of rectifying what's going on with that is a natural response. And, one that I also have on a pretty daily basis, what is going on with me? So because of that response, many of you also know that this is not actually my second go at a career, but really my fourth or so. That 22-year-old me was a social worker. And then I was a librarian. And then I was a yoga teacher and a yoga studio owner. And really even those four focuses are the four most professional, each requiring lots of devotion and education of a slew of other jobs and interests. And so in the chat now, put your most unlikely or memorable job, one that we would not have guessed you have done. Bridge builder. Claude and Ann, auto mechanic and auto worker. I need that information. Ginger, a clown. Photographer, stuffing advertisements. Shoveling a driveway, nice. Female store detective. See, these are things that we would never know. Roller skate waitress. Amazing. All right, in a much abbreviated way, I will give you a little idea of my own myriad of positions. I have been a summer camp counselor, an ice cream scooper, a pizza baker, a restaurant server. I have worked at retail stores Michael's, Pier 1, J. Crew, Anthropology, Borders Books, and currently at Target. I have been a preschool teacher, a clinical trial project associate. I have worked on a state park maintenance crew. I have been a lifeguard and a nanny. Those were all paid positions. And weaved into and among them, I have done even more volunteer work as an animal shelter attendant, a bicycle repair person, a nursing home ceramics teacher, a farmer's assistant, among others. You get the idea, everything. There's a reason I can list so many jobs and have spent significant time and effort at each one. It is that I was often doing 3 or 4 of them at the same time. And that took a big toll on me. I am not advocating for that, to be clear. I can only imagine you would be doing it if you had to. And if you have to or had to, I deeply respect that and recognize that you shouldn't have to. It is stressful. Years and years of stress on stress without relief is detrimental. It took me a good decade of being an adult, working and going to school, to recognize that this wasn't gonna work long-term. I needed to find work that sustained me in more than monetary ways. A job that fulfilled me as much as possible in heart and in mind. And if I didn't make enough money doing that, then so be it. I credit my practice of yoga for allowing me to get to that point, because really the stress was so debilitating that I didn't have the energy to think about anything but what I had to do. I did practice physical yoga, the kind that we are really culturally attuned to in the United States. You might be led to believe that yoga consists entirely of twisting your body up while sitting or standing on a brightly colored rectangle of a mat. In fact, the yoga that I practiced and taught was just a tiny small fraction of the focus. The focus really was to quiet the mind so that you can hear yourself, your true self. In my own personal understanding, that is God. Yes, you do in yoga move your body to release pent-up energy that resides there. You practice breathing intentionally and pursue yogic philosophy, among other things, but all of that is in effort to become still within and without. I felt like a long process of peeling off those layers of scarcity and stress and anger and frustration and sadness. It was not linear. It is not linear. The layers got peeled off and put on and peeled off again. But somewhere along the way, I recognized that I was carrying a lot of things that I needed to leave behind in order to continue to evolve. Old ideas, old impulses, old relationships, regrets, emotional pain. Even thinking about this time of my life brings the memory of music. There's a particular album that I listen to over and over and over again. And so I'm going to ask you for your most favorite, closely held close to your heart songs or albums or musicians, someone that has impacted you deeply. Some music. We can create a really amazing playlist maybe after this is done. Coldplay, Tori Amos, Tracy Chapman, Claude, one of my favorites, Indigo Girls, Krishna Das, Musical Sound of Music, amazing. This period of my life was flooded with Bon Iver and his album For Emma Forever Ago. And talking about it reminds me of the last lyrics, the last song on the album. It was long enough ago that I actually had the physical CD that I would play in my car driving between all those jobs. The song is RE : like regarding stacks, RE stacks. And the last lyrics are, This is not the sound of a new man or a crispy realization. It's the sound of the unlocking and lift away. Your love will be safe with me. These kinds of things, these changes, these transformations in my experience, and are not things that we can just pivot away from and change. These big, important things we carry for real and ingrained reasons do not disappear overnight. But we can decide to let them go nonetheless. They can unlock and lift away, even if it takes a whole lot of time to create space between us and the ideas. How could I release my tight grip on these ways that I had been existing in this world? The thing that eventually allowed me to shift was a cultivation of a reverence of mourning. MOURNING, mourning, grieving, getting over, getting through, learning to live fruitfully while still honoring my past self, loosening a tight grip on something that no longer served me so that I could be open to those new experiences and new passions and things that would serve my best self. It is also my belief that if each of us cultivates our best self and the gifts we are meant to embrace, we will also be able to serve the communities we are a part of most successfully. I really, truly do not think there is a way to overstate this. The world needs your gifts. And it is your responsibility and mine to create the conditions that allow for those gifts to flourish to the best of our abilities. Imagine a life without being able to share in each other's gifts. I have benefited from so many in art and cooking, kindness, especially for me, books. So next question, drop the name of your favorite author or book into the chat. One of my favorite authors, along with Betty White and John Madden and Desmond Tutu, passed away just before Christmas, December 23rd, in 2021, Joan Didion. Learning of her passing prompted me to reread her book, The Year of Magical Thinking. The year that Joan Didion writes about is the year following her husband's sudden death. Not only had her husband of more than 40 years died, but their adult daughter was experiencing a mysterious medical issue that had her in and out of comas and in and out of hospitals and rehabilitation centers, leading to her husband's death. And during that first year, that year of magical thinking, she was dealing with a lot. Because she was a practiced and prolific writer, she already had this system of writing and research and gathering information in place. And when faced with this personal tragedy, she applied that system to her own life and the medical events that faced her family in an attempt to sort of make sense of things in her mind. Magical thinking is a trick of the mind that distorts the truth of the situation, perhaps as a coping mechanism and a way to mourn what was. Particularly when something happens suddenly and there is no time to get ready for the whirlwind of grief to come, magical thinking offers some little buffer. In Joan Didion's case, she would not get rid of her husband's shoes because she felt like he would need them. She played out scenario after scenario of decisions they had made in their lives together to try to determine what course of action would end in her husband still being there with her. She started to exclusively use his dishes, meaning the pattern of Spode Wickerdale china that her husband had received from his mother some 50 years prior, before they had even met or married. His mother had died. He had died. She knew that, but somehow using their dishes seemed like of utmost importance while she ate alone. Magical thinking is a real psychological phenomenon. Joan Didion did not invoke magical thinking, but she rather noticed what was happening and researched it to sort of make sense of what was going on with her mind and her heart too, probably. I do think, though, that we can invoke magical thinking. We need to, really, in order to imagine our lives as evolving for good. Is there a way that our past decisions have led us here? Was it intentional? And whether the answer is yes or no, is there a way to move forward, even in this tiniest of ways, to start to come to a place where we can intentionally cultivate a life that is meaningful? I have a January term course, starts Tuesday, 2 days from now. It's called Religion and Health in Context, HIV. The description of the course is, this course will explore the ways in which religion has been utilized over the last 25 years to make sense of the HIV epidemic and to mobilize or hinder productive responses. These processes of making meaning and responding have occurred in a variety of contexts. This course will critically explore a broad spectrum of religious, political, and public health contexts to demonstrate the ways in which religion is invoked in response to questions and practices of health and wellness. My first assignment is due before class even starts. That's a fun thing they do now. I have to watch a documentary and answer some short questions about it. So last chat question, what have you been watching lately? TV, movie, documentary? For my assignment, I have watched the film How to Survive a Plague twice so far. Because it is interesting and full of detail. And honestly, I read the title and I was like, that is information I need. How to survive a plague. That seems like history repeating itself. The film focuses on the HIV/AIDS epidemic in New York City, primarily between the years of 1987 and 1996. The organization ACT UP is featured prominently. They were founded to create big attention-getting protest tactics, specifically in the documentary focused on getting politicians to address the AIDS epidemic and getting drug companies, really, and the FDA to fast-track potential drugs that might be able to help. They did a stunning, truly stunning amount of scientific work. Regular people did a stunning amount of scientific work, including their own drug trials to develop their platform for requesting things most likely to help. I, like I said, have watched How to Survive a Plague twice so far, and I'm here to tell you that they do not explicitly tell how to survive a plague, which was super disappointing to me. But, you know, I guess I should have expected that, because a plague is not a plague unless there are people who don't survive. And I'm really stuck on figuring out what they're trying to say. Why would you name a film How to Survive a Plague if you weren't going to give the answer, right? So I'll watch it again to test my current theory. But as it stands so far, I think the filmmakers were saying that you survive by loving yourself and each other enough to leave behind what doesn't matter. Things like self-loathing, things like cultural criticism, police and political scrutiny. Putting those things aside, or trying to, is the only way to be able to continue to recognize the beauty and love and connection in your community, which in turn is the only thing that can contribute to the wherewithal necessary to be able to take care of yourself and each other. Mourning is not deciding that something doesn't matter anymore. It is giving attention to just how much they matter and why. Reimagining that person or idea or career, reimagining that place in your life. So maybe instead of a New Year's resolution this year, or at least if you've already chosen one, at least alongside one, you will allow yourself to dream of your most fulfilling life. Recognize and mourn what does not serve that effort, and open to the beauty of your own evolution. Thank you so much for joining me and each other this morning and indulging my chat request. This is an amazing list of exciting music and books and TV and movies. And I am definitely going to save this chat, which is a function of the chat if you want to do it too. Little 3 dots at the bottom of the chat that has a function save chat so that you can go back through. I certainly cannot wait. So I'm going to add one more thing to it. I'm going to leave you with a blessing from John O'Donohue. And this is the book To Bless the Space Between Us. This is a blessing for the new year. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, May a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you, a meadow of delight. When the canvas phrase and the kara of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm going to pass again it over to Michael for now our chalice extinguishing.
Many buttons. Thank you, Sarah, for your words. We hope you have been nourished in heart and mind by our worship today, and hope that you find some community while we're kind of locked in our own homes at this kind of erratic time. As our chalice is extinguished this morning, please join me in the final words that are posted supposedly in the chat. And since we don't seem to have an order of service today, it will go. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Please stay tuned. You will be able to go to the virtual breakout rooms for fellowship time at this point. And at 11:15, we will have some second hour activities for youth and adults. Sermon reflections will be one of those activities today. Our service is concluded, but our connection has only begun. Go now in peace and take peace wherever you go. Thank you.
Everyone, I put the link in the chat too for the sign up for El Refugio. We really want to try to get these backpacks filled ASAP for folks that need them. So there's information there about signing up, and I will be at the congregation all day Tuesday, so you can just drop anything off. And you don't have to fill a whole backpack. You can just bring one little thing, and together we will put them together. Thanks, thank you, Sarah. That was really a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful service. Thank you so much.